Today's lesson is the truth about strength training, separating fact from fiction. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Helen.
And in today's edition of our program, we're going to be talking about a form of exercise that some of you might enjoy doing. It's all about strength training, sometimes referred to weight training, or just simply lifting weights. Are you much into strength training, Helen?
Well, I have tried it, and I did enjoy doing it, but I do understand that there is a lot of misunderstanding surrounding strength training. So today we're going to talk about what it involves, and we're going to try to separate some facts from fiction.
Right. Fiction, of course, refers to things that have just been made up, and of course, lots of people have opinions about strength training that we'll try to clarify in today's lesson. So let's not delay any further. Let's listen to the first part right now, and then we'll come back to talk about it.
The truth about strength training, separating fact from fiction. Looking for a lifestyle change to improve your health and well-being? If so, strength training should be at the top of your list. Also known as resistance training, this form of exercise usually involves using weights to build and tone muscles. It's often associated with bodybuilders and professional athletes, but strength training can benefit people of all ages and fitness levels.
大家好，第一部分我们来介绍名词 well-being， 它的意思是健康、安乐或是福祉。例如 The nurse is responsible for looking after the well-being of patients. 护理师有责任照顾病人的身体健康。又或者说 For the sake of your well-being, you should consider taking a holiday. 为了你的健康着想，你应该考虑放个假。再来我们看到名词 resistance， 它有阻力、抵抗或是抵抗力的意思。例如 It was difficult riding my bicycle yesterday because of resistance from the strong wind. 因为强风的阻力，所以我昨天骑脚踏车骑得非常困难。又或者说Exercise helps increase the body's resistance to some diseases. 运动有助于增加身体对某些疾病的抵抗力。另外补充这个字的动词 resist, R-E-S-I-S-T, resist. 它的意思是抵抗或是抗拒。例如 This virus resists most vaccines, so it's particularly dangerous. 这个病毒能抵抗大部分的疫苗，因此特别危险。再举一个例子Sam knew he shouldn't eat another piece of cake, but he couldn't resist. Sam 知道他不该再吃一块蛋糕，但是他就是无法抗拒。下一个我们看到动词 involve， 意思是需要、包含或是涉及、使参与。例如 Building a house involves a lot of skills. 要建造一栋房子需要很多技术。或是 The scandal involves a prominent politician.该丑闻涉及一位显要的政治人物。接下来我们看到单字 associate， 这个字也可以念成 associate， 它是动词，指的是和点点点有关、联系或是把点点点联想在一起。例如 Chris has a lot of memories associated with his childhood. Chris 有很多跟童年有关的回忆。或是 Red roses are associated with love. 红玫瑰让人联想到爱情。另外补充这个字的名词Association, A-S-S-O-C-I-A-T-I-O-N, association, 也可以念成 association. 它的意思是联想、关联或是协会。举例来说 The doctor asked Peter to make associations between the pictures and some words. 医生要 Peter 从那些图片和文字之间做联想。再举一个例子 Gary is the head of a trade association in the clothing industry.Gary 是服饰产业贸易协会的负责人。
So once again, the title of today's lesson is The Truth About Strength Training, Separating Fact from Fiction. As Roger mentioned before, fiction is something that's not true. It could be a report or a story that is false, but it also indicates a kind of story. So you can talk about fiction rather than history. If you're reading a book, you're reading a work of fiction, which means the story is made up.
It's imaginary, basically. And here, of course, we're we're talking about facts, things that are true, versus things that are false fiction. So here in the first paragraph it says, looking for a lifestyle change to improve your health and well-being? This is a question here. The correct form would be to write, are you looking for a lifestyle change to improve your health and well-being? But this is kind of an informal way of introducing this topic. You can leave off are you in this particular case because it just sounds kind of fun. Looking for a lifestyle change to improve your health and well-being? And of course, your well-being is just when you are well, when you're healthy, and when you're not unhealthy, getting sick all the time. You just feel in tip-top shape.
Right. So well-being has a more general meaning compared to health. When you're talking about your health, usually you're talking about your body and how your body feels. It's your state of physical health. Well-being is more general because it includes your physical health, but it can also refer to how happy you are, how safe you are financially, and also your environment, your overall general sense of being well.
Exactly. Okay. And of course, lots of us are busy going to school and going to work, and maybe we don't have time to head down to the gym and work out as much as we'd like to. So most of us probably would answer yes to this question. Yeah, I want to improve my health and I want to improve my well-being. And if so, strength training should be at the top of your list. So here, strength training is types of exercises that actually help you get stronger. Strength, of course, refers to how strong you are, both in your legs and your arms and other muscles in your body. And yes, indeed, this is pretty important. A lot of people think that cardiovascular would be more important, like going jogging or swimming and things like that. But strength training is pretty much important, and we're putting it at the top of the list here.
That's right. So when you go jogging, when you're doing cardiovascular training, you're not really working on your muscles. Whereas here, strength training is all about your strength and the quality and the size of your muscles. Now, strength training is also known as resistance training, and this form of exercise usually involves using weights to build and tone muscles. So here we have the word resistance in resistance training, and resistance itself refers to a force that makes moving an object more difficult because it's working against that object. So when you're doing resistance training, what you're actually doing is lifting weights. And since the weights are heavy, it's working against your ability to raise it, depending on how heavy the weights are.
Right. Resistance, of course, is from the verb to resist, which means you don't accept a situation that is coming your way. For example, if Lisa was being pursued by John and she wasn't interested, she resisted his advances, or she put up resistance, and therefore he was sad and had to find another girlfriend. But here, of course, we're talking about resistance training, which, as Helen said, means you're lifting weights and you're moving your arm in the opposite direction and you're building muscles as a result here. And this form of exercise usually involves using weights to build and tone muscles. So here we have the word involve, which means it includes these things. If you want to do strength training, you're going to use weights. And you use those weights or those machines or whatever they have in gyms. And you're doing that to build your muscles and to tone them, which means to make them look better.
Right. So you can use the word involve in the following sentence. The holiday involves a lot of hiking and trekking. So if you don't want to do anything physical, then you might not want to go. So it just means that it includes these activities.
Okay, so that's what strength training involves. And it's often associated with bodybuilders and professional athletes. But strength training can benefit people of all ages and fitness levels. So when somebody mentions strength training or lifting weights or resistance training, you'll think, oh, yeah, you want to look like a muscle man, you know, a big macho kind of guy who hangs out at the beach with a great tan. But I don't really want to look like that. And so therefore, people associate this with bodybuilders. Those, of course, are people who just lift weights in order to increase the size of their muscles. And also, we we associate or we think about strength training when we think about professional athletes. Of course, if you're a basketball player or whatever, you do need to lift weights to strengthen your muscles. And a professional, of course, is somebody who gets paid for what they do.
Right. So a famous bodybuilder is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He started out as a bodybuilder. He was a professional bodybuilder because that's how he made money. That was his career, and he won a lot of prizes and awards. And then he later became a famous movie actor.
Exactly. But here we do associate strength training with bodybuilders and professional athletes, but strength training can benefit people of all ages and fitness levels and of all genders as well. If you want to lift weights, it's going to be good for you. And this sounds like the way I was thinking many years ago. I kind of thought, well, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't need to have those big muscles and show off. So I'll just stick with cardiovascular exercise. I'll go jogging and swimming and stuff like that. But now I realize that weight training or strength training is equally important as we age and as we get older. So we'll continue on with our lesson now in the second part. Let's listen.
One of the primary benefits of strength training is that it builds and maintains muscle mass. Not only does improved muscle mass help you perform many daily tasks more easily and with less risk of injury, it also counteracts some of the effects of aging. Strength training also increases bone density, which significantly improves quality of life in old age.
第二部分我们看到单字 density， 它是名词，指的是密度或是密集。例如 Taiwan has a very high population density. 台湾的人口密度相当高。
So now we're going to look at strength training in more detail. Now, one of the primary benefits of strength training is that it builds and maintains muscle mass. So that is one important benefit. If you lift weights, then your muscle mass or the density of your muscle will be maintained. It will remain healthy and firm.
And you want to maintain that muscle mass. You want to keep those muscles so that you can use them for the rest of your life. Not only does improved muscle mass help you perform many daily tasks more easily and with less risk of injury, it also counteracts some of the effects of aging, which is kind of what I was mentioning a little earlier here. In this sentence, we've got the not only but also pattern, and this is quite a long sentence here. Not only does it help you perform daily tasks without getting injured, but it also counteracts some of the effects of aging. So here, of course, you want to build muscle mass to help you with your daily tasks. You can lift heavy boxes full of books more easily. And, of course, you probably have other things you need to do in your daily life. But also, it will decrease the risk of injury. So sometimes, yeah, if we bend over to pick something up in the improper way, we might hurt our back. But if we've been working out with weights for a long time, we'll be less likely to get injured.
Right. So if you're a student, you may not think much about aging and how weightlifting can counteract the effects of aging. But even today, if you're carrying heavy book bags, knapsacks, and you often feel like your shoulders are really sore from carrying all those books, weightlifting could help because if you build up muscles, then you won't feel so sore from carrying those heavy book bags. Now, here the word counteract means to reduce the negative effect of something by doing something that has the opposite effect. So if you do weightlifting, then you're going to counteract or you're going to reduce the negative effect of other things, in this case of aging. So what happens when you age? You lose muscle mass, your bones become weaker, and you have more chances of injury. But if you weight train, then you can reduce or counteract some of these effects.
And strength training also increases bone density, which significantly improves quality of life in old age. So density here just refers to how dense something is, how much substance is there, how compact it is. And yes, indeed, if you have good bones, bone density, they'll be less likely to break.
That's right. So many of us might have grandmas or grandpas who can't walk very well, or they've broken a bone, broken a hip. And when that happens, they might have to go through surgery, and that's very bad and it's painful. So if you start young and do strength training, you might be able to avoid some of these outcomes.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the third and final part. We'll listen first.
In addition, strength training makes it easier to maintain a healthy weight. While cardio exercise burns calories, strength training builds muscle, which increases your resting metabolic rate, or the rate at which you burn calories for energy. This means that you'll burn more calories even when you're not working out. And like cardio, strength training promotes cardiovascular health, lowers blood pressure, and reduces the risk of heart disease.
最后第三部分我们看到名词 calorie 指的是热量卡路里。举例来说 Soda has a lot of calories, so I try not to drink too much of it. 汽水热量很高，所以我尽量不要喝太多。最后一个例子 Do you know how many calories are in that ice cream? 你知道那份冰淇淋里含多少卡路里吗
So before we talked about some benefits of strength training, now there are other benefits as well. In addition, strength training makes it easier to maintain a healthy weight. So if your weight is a concern, you want to lose some weight or maintain your current weight, then you might consider strength training.
Exactly. So, of course, lots of people exercise because they want to lose weight. They don't want to be so fat anymore. And in this particular case, we're saying that strength training can help you with that. And here it says, while cardio exercise burns calories, strength training builds muscle, which increases your resting metabolic rate, or the rate at which you burn calories for energy. So yes, indeed, lots of people say, hey, I just need to have some cardio workout, like running on the treadmill at the gym or something for an hour every day or something like that. And yes, that will burn calories. Doing that will burn calories. But if you do strength training, you will build muscle. And as a result, when you're resting, when you're not working out, your metabolism will still be pretty high. Your metabolism, of course, is how your body works and how the cells generate power and things like that. And of course, this will be at a rate which you can burn calories for energy. So yeah, I guess it's basically trying to tell us that lifting weights can burn just as many calories as doing cardio exercise can.
Right. So if you want to lose weight, you want to count your calories and you want to try to burn more calories than you consume. That a lot of people say that's the only way to lose weight is when you eat fewer calories than you burn.
Right. A calorie, of course, is just a measure of heat. And, of course, we all know what those are. We count them every time we eat, at least if we're on a diet. And, indeed, cardio exercise can burn a lot of calories, but, of course, we tend to eat a lot of food, and that kind of counteracts what we've done with the exercise. So, of course, lifting weights or doing strength training can help you burn those calories, and it can help you raise your metabolic rate. And this means that you'll burn more calories even when you're not working out. So if you do strength training and you're resting afterwards, well, you'll still be burning calories, at least according to this article.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. So far I'm convinced I'm going to do some more strength training from now on.
Does sound cool. And it goes on to say here in the last sentence, and like cardio, strength training promotes cardiovascular health, lowers blood pressure, and reduces the risk of heart disease. So that's an advantage there of doing strength training. It can have all these different kinds of advantages. It can help you with your cardiovascular health, just like jogging can, and it can also lower your blood pressure. A lot of people nowadays suffer from high blood pressure. And then, of course, we all have the problem of heart disease, which a lot of people suffer from. If you lift weights or do strength training, you will reduce your risk of getting heart disease. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's turn things now over to Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分有提到，肌力训练通常需要使用重物来锻炼和强健肌肉。那文中是用动词 involve 去表达需要、包含，它也有涉及、牵涉的意思。好，那我们来学它的字首字根。看到 volve 这个字根，它表示 roll， 它有转动、滚动的语义。那么在 involve 这个字当中，它的字首 in 表示into 进入， volve 表示 roll 转动滚动，那么滚动进来应该可以联想到说 involve 它有卷入的意思，所以 involve 就可以表达使卷入、牵连或是包含咯。好，我们也补充几个带有 volve 这个字根的单字。第一个是evolve， 它的字首一是来自 ex 表示向外，那么字根 volve 表示转动改变，我们可以用向外转动去慢慢扩展的这样意象去联想说 evolve 它有逐步演变、演进或是发展的意思。第二个补充的是 devolve， 它的字首 de 表示 down 向下， volve 表示转动滚动，那这个字其实是 evolve 的相反词，它有退化的语义。那这个字也可以表达说将什么什么下放、转移、移交，可能是像把权利啊、职责等等的下放。好，再来第三个补充的是 revolve， 它的字首 re 有返回再度的意思， volve 表示转动，合在一起 revolve 就有旋转转动的意思，我们就可以用 revolve around something 去表达围绕什么来旋转。好，那么课文第二部分有提到，改善肌肉量不但可以帮助我们在执行日常工作时更容易，并降低受伤的风险，还能抵消老化带来的一些影响。那文中是用到 counteract 这个动词来表达抵消、抵制。好，那这个字首 counter 它带有相反、对应或对立等等的语义，那么字根 act 它有行动、作用的意思，对立的行动、相反的作用，我们应该可以联想到 counteract 它有抵消、抵制或对抗的意思。好，这边我们也来补充两个带有这个 counter 这个字首的单字。第一个是 counter attack， 它的字首 counter 表示相反对立嘛，那么 attack 是攻击，合在一起 counter attack 就表示反攻、反击。好，那第二个补充的是 counterclockwise， clock 是时钟，那么 wise 就是副词字尾去表达以什么什么方式。那这两个部分先合在一起 clockwise 就是描述顺时针方向的，接着在 clockwise 前面加上我们刚刚说的字首 counter 表示相反的，那顺时针的相反就是逆时针了，所以 counterclockwise 就表示逆时针方向的。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Fiction. What the witness said was proven to be pure fiction. Resistance.As he rode his bike through the storm, Brad struggled to overcome the strong wind resistance. Involve. The project will involve a team of engineers and designers. Associate. Whenever I see a red rose, I always associate it with my grandmother. Professional. Though she only takes pictures for fun now, Violet hopes to become a professional photographer someday. Density.The density of gold is much greater than that of water. Calorie. A single slice of pizza contains around 300 calories.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoy reading along with us. I am Helen.
I am Roger.
See you next time.